and that they're going to have to do that, or we're never going to have any personalities.
Well, that's great advice, and you would know. Like I said, I still consider you the biggest name in drag racing. We talked about John Force. Unfortunately, John no longer competing, and that is a huge loss to the sport. How do you think the sport can rebound after losing such a giant? I know you've been through this when you retired. They had to figure out a way to carry on without Don Garlits. We do have Tony Stewart out there right now, who's a pretty big name, but how can the sport rebound without its biggest star, John Force, of the last few decades?
Well, some of these guys that do good, like Tony Stewart, he needs Tony Stewart on that car in big letters so that people think Tony Stewart. And I don't care about the sponsors. I mean, they can't live without them, but that's too bad. The sport ain't going anywhere by some name on the car because the people do not relate to the sponsor. I don't even know that they buy the product because of it. I mean, that's you could argue that point. It's like here, we did all kinds of advertising here at one time. Cost lots of money, and we didn't know whether it was working or not. We were getting pretty good crowds. So we surveyed our customers for 3 months. You will be unbelievable. 85% of our people that came in here was word of mouth.
Wow.
We had billboard signs. A couple of people said they saw the billboard. We had these brochures in all the hotels up and down the highway, all the way up into Kentucky. Cost a huge amount of money. One person had saw the brochure, and he was here. I mean, did we cut some stuff back quick? And then we bend over backwards to make sure that customer's happy out there. Even when they're wrong, they're right. And we just do whatever it is so when they leave here, they've had a happy experience. And now we've even given the money back. If they've some least little thing, give them the money back. We don't want nobody out there bad mouthing us. And that's that word of mouth. And you can't, the crowds are down at NHRA. And you can't believe how the people have the spread says, it's over too quick. He only run 1,000 feet. I paid $150. It wasn't worth it. This is the worst thing in the world could happen to you. And of course, the prices are a little high. There's no question about that for the spectators. But then the prices are high for the competitors. But it really doesn't relate. They pay pretty good purses, but they could still pay those big purses with less gate fees. It's a little high for the spectators. It seems like here our price is $22. It's been it was $20 for years and years, and hardly anybody pays that because there's discounts for the police and the army and the armed forces and elderly and students. And I mean, a handful of people pay the full price, but a lot of people get the discounts, and it makes a lot of difference. What it does is something that everybody can afford, and that's why we do so well.
Well, word of mouth is key. And you remind me of something a great promoter told me a long time ago. And he said, your best advertisement for your next race is your previous race. How well you treated the people, the show that they had. And Dawn, you've said a lot of things about NHRA already. I want to commend them. They do a great job on a lot of things. There's a lot of things where maybe they're coming up short. I talked to a lot of old timers and a lot of old racers, and they said right now what they see as a problem is the board doesn't consist of any drag racers, any individuals who hung around race shops. A lot of people tell me when Graham Light left, the last racer left an executive position at NHRA. If you could say something to this board right now, this group of leadership on how to improve, what would you tell leadership at NHRA?
Yeah, that's true. In fact, one of the I will not call any names, but one of the most powerful people in the NHRA right now is a lawyer. And all he thinks about is what are they going to be the repercussions of what we might do. Well, they wouldn't even let me have a driver's license to drive my electric car because it said I was too old. They sent me to school, hoped I would fail that, got that. I got my physical was perfect, wouldn't give me my license. They gave me my super stock license back. That's all I got. They don't want me driving dragsters. And the president set me down and said, Don, it's just scary. If you hurt somebody and killed them, they would sue us for criminal negligence because we allowed you to drive and we should have known better. And of course, that's the way the attorneys think about it, And so it's a sad deal.
Do you feel like back in your day, there weren't nearly as many lawsuits? We weren't as litigious as we are now. Was that something that made it a little bit more free back in your day?
Well, the lawsuits have always got bigger and bigger and more over the years because there's more and more lawyers. And the courts have made too many allowances for everything. What they should have done, there should be some things. When you go to a drag strip and you get hurt, a piece comes up in the stands or something, you shouldn't have any repercussions. That's a dangerous place to be. If you're afraid of something like that, you best stay home, watch it on TV. And that's what the court should have said. But the courts have awarded these things because the judge was a lawyer at one time. And he's looking out for his buddies. And the more these lawyers get, and they always say, it's just the insurance company. Well, then that makes the insurance more expensive. And so it feeds on itself. And, of course, that's not good for the sport. It put us out of business. We built chassis for years and years, lots of 331 slingshots we built. That was the last serial number. And then we got into the engine car. And Herb Peterson crashed at Orange County. He sued everybody, even the guy that built him the chassis. And they won.
Oh, man.
A huge settlement. And the chassis builder, Woody Gilmore, was put out of business. And we built no more cars for the general public. Wow. Just like that. You buy a chassis from a chassis company, you crash into the wall and you get hurt. And it's the chassis builder's fault. The driver's at fault. He's the one drove into the wall. Yeah. He should. That's why the gas pedal's got a hinge. When it starts to do a little funny, you back off.
Well, I do feel for the promoters in that regard because I know they have to deal with a very litigious society, and we see it in baseball now with the nets so people don't get hit with foul balls. So that is something they have to worry about. But speaking of the promoters and the organizations, something I want to ask you about. It's a very interesting time because I've seen you at a few IHRA races. And we know that for the past decade or so, IHRA has been in trouble. They really haven't had much of a showing. They have a new owner, Daryl Cuddle, and he seems to really be going after it. In fact, he's picking you up on the private plane and bringing you to the races, which I think is great. What do you think about the competition IHRA is providing NHRA right now? Will it last? Is it sustainable?
Well, the IHRA is providing a place where some of these people can race that can't afford to race for NHRA. They have full fields, and it's exciting to watch. But they are not the cars that are at the NHRA track. They're this, I call it the second string. But the people don't know the difference. You can't tell the difference when a car goes down the racetrack between a 300-mile-an-hour car and a 290-mile-an-hour car. It's just that last little burst that it accelerates through that last little section of clocks, and you can't see that with the naked eye. So they all make the big smoky burnouts. They all leave hard. The flames are coming out of all the pipes. But again, I couldn't tell you one guy racing at those tracks because none of the cars have the guy's name on it in nice big block letters.
I like it. If you didn't hear us, NHRA, IHRA, let's put those names on the cars. Big block letters. When the greatest drag racer of all time tells you to do something, do it. I'm with you on that 100%, Don.